Boxing truth here. Gennady Triple G Golovkin has uh, has no options for April 23rd. Just a lot of fighters just not willing to fight Triple G. He's been trying very hard to get a meaningful fight for April 23rd since Canelo is not willing to fight him next. Has requested for an interim fight from the WBC, which the WBC has granted. Now Gennady is stuck having to fight. Having to take an interim fight on HBO. The problem is the pickings are slim. It was just revealed that Toriano Johnson is not going to be available for April 23rd. He will be having shoulder surgery. He won't have enough time to recover from that injury from the shoulder surgery. So he's out of the mix for April 23rd. Gennady for weeks was trying to get a unification with Billy Joe Saunders. Saunders' team declined the offer for Triple G. He has no interest in fighting Golovkin right now. He wants to make a defense of his title, possibly in March and April, and Frank Warren has just announced, Billy Joe Saunders promoter Frank Warren announced that after the defense, he'll have a big summer showdown, most likely a rematch with Eubank Jr. Eubank Jr. is going to be fighting Nick Blackwell on March for the British title, and most likely they'll probably fight each other in the summer. So they're out for quite some time. Gennady, in the meantime, he's gonna have to fight a name that's not known, not recognized by the American public. It's most likely he's going to be fighting Georgian Sebastian Hyland. He's the number one contender for WBC. He is ranked number 5 on BoxRec. He's a decent fighter. He's just no world beater. Hasn't proven much in his career. His best win was against Matthew Macklin. However, he has four defeats on his record. He's not the fastest guy. He's durable. He's never been knocked out. He's got average speed, average power. He's a strong-looking fighter, but the power is not there. He's not as skilled. Doesn't have the skill level of Golovkin. He's a southpaw. It'll be an action fight. Hyland is from Argentina. He comes forward. He stays in the pocket, leaves behind the jab, but he just hasn't beaten anyone the caliber fighters needed to get ready for Golovkin, and he hasn't faced a puncher like Golovkin. He's lost to fighters like Sebastian Zibic and some guys from Argentina, unknown guys. It's a disappointing fight, but it's really nothing Triple G can do about it. Canelo doesn't want to fight him next. Billy Joe Saunders doesn't want no parts of Gennady Golovkin. Andy Lee just lost. Not really a desirable fight for Golovkin after the way Andy Lee looked in that fight against Billy Joe Saunders. There's nothing available. Sebastian Hyland is the only opponent that will be approved for Golovkin on HBO, and he's the most logical choice. If they're gonna fight Hyland, it's a decent move because there's nobody else, and also Hyland's the number one contender for WBC. The WBC has been shitting on George Sebastian Hyland. Hyland's been very frustrated with the boxing politics of the organization. He's been passed over for a shot at the WBC title numerous times, first with Miguel Cotto and now Canelo, and he gets it. Canelo's the star. He generates a lot more money than he does. Golovkin generates more money than he does. So he's going to be passed over for quite some time. He's going to be shitted on by WBC. So if the fight is offered to Hyland, Triple G offers the fight to Hyland, he most likely will take it. It'll be his most significant fight that he can get. He knows he ain't going to get Canelo anytime soon because of boxing politics. So he might as well get an opportunity against Golovkin, see if he can see how he matches with Golovkin, see if he maybe can possibly pull off a major upset. Unlikely. He just doesn't have enough to defeat Golovkin physically, and doesn't have the skill, not as experienced, and it makes it more and more of a demand that Canelo just step up and fight Golovkin. There's no point in taking an interim fight. There's nobody, no opponents out there for him to fight. Considering they wanted to go on pay-per-view, I mean, David Lemieux is going to be fighting James De La Rosa in Canada in March, so they're not going to fight. Daniel Jacobs is a Showtime fighter, PBC guy, not happening. There's just no one available. Who is he going to fight? Willie Monroe Jr.? Gabe Rosado? I mean, it's just going to be a pointless showcase. They might as well make that fight next, but very difficult fight to make right now. Oscar's not confident in the fight. Canelo is still demanding a catch weight, and Golovkin has no interest in the catch weight. Pretty much calling out Alvarez on that stipulation. They really should fight next. They might as well do it next. It's a big fight, super fight. People believe, a lot of his fans believe Canelo could win. I don't think Canelo has a chance to beat Golovkin, but most likely you're gonna see Gennady Golovkin and George Sebastian Hyland, and it's a shame that Golovkin's probably gonna be waiting until he's not gonna get a big fight until he's 35, pretty much a little past his prime. It's unfortunate that Golovkin, the fighter with this type of ability and the power he possesses and the fear he instills in fighters, it's a shame that we couldn't see, him. We couldn't get to see Golovkin get his biggest fights at a much earlier in his career. It's very unfortunate. Was freezed out for a while by a promoter in Germany. Didn't make it to the States until at an advanced age of 30 years old, and now 3 years into his campaign in the U.S., he's come a long way, fighting from smaller arenas to now selling out the Garden, having 150,000 pay-per-view purchases. Not great numbers, but it was a foreign fighter against a Canadian guy, a fight that shouldn't have been on pay-per-view, but they still broke even on that pay-per-view. It's just a shame Golovkin can't get a big fight, and he's not getting any younger. And I've watched tape on Golovkin over the past few weeks. He's a little past his prime. He is. He's not in his prime anymore. He was a lot faster about 4 or 5 years ago. Just right now, he's not as fast, but he's a lot stronger than he was 5 years ago. He's a lot stronger now than he was 5 years ago, but he's not as fast as he used to be. The clock is ticking on Golovkin's prime. He's a little past his best, but he's still a pound-for-pound type level fighter. Hopefully he gets that big fight sooner rather than later. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.